Are you finding that it's harder to stay motivated in midlife? You wake up in the morning and wonder what your actual purpose is for the day, if you need to even bother getting up. And maybe your kids have grown up. Maybe they've left the nest. Maybe they're still in the nest, but they're older and they're out doing their own activities. They're working, they're going to school. You're not driving your kids around anymore. You don't have any activities of theirs to attend. Your circle of friends has maybe shrunk, and you're not as motivated to get out and do things. In midlife, we've got a lot changing. And for many of us, it's getting harder and harder to stay motivated. We're in a different season of life. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, what you can do to help keep yourself motivated. Maybe your job is mundane, you're waiting to retire, you don't feel that you have a lot of purpose in your life, and you're not alone. We're all in that in-between stage, I think, where we've past the point where we, had to drive our kids everywhere and take them everywhere, and that they were our social circle, and they've gone off now and they're doing their own thing, and then we're sort of left behind. But it's important to incorporate small little things into your day just to give it more purpose and keep you motivated. I find this on the weekends now. The kids are grown, they have their own lives, they're working, they're out with friends, whatever. And if we haven't incorporated other things into our lives, it can become very boring, very lonely. And I love makeup, and I've been wearing makeup since high school. So for me, what I do is, even on the weekends, I always put makeup on. When I'm working from home, I always do my makeup as well. And if I'm feeling a little bit off, we'll say, I experiment with my makeup. I bring out my palettes. I just, play with the colors, do something creative. But I always make a point of doing my makeup because I feel my best when I'm wearing makeup. Try taking a different route to and from work or to and from school. If you're into a routine of doing the same thing every day, it does get boring and monotonous. The simplest change in the way that you're driving to work can change your outlook. It gets so doom and gloom here in Canada in the winter. So I switched up my route coming to and from work a few months ago, actually. And I found it made a huge difference because we just get in this rut of doing the same thing every day. Go here, go there, back and forth. It's the same thing. So just that tiny little change can change your mood and keep you more motivated. A lot of this is common sense, but I'm telling you anyway, because until someone tells you, you know all this stuff. But then when someone reminds you, it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's true. I should do that. So I think now that the weather has improved, it's the best time to get outside. Get outside, get some fresh air, go for a walk, even if it's just around the block. When you start small, it'll amount to something bigger. So you just go for a walk around the block, and then that's 10 minutes, and then it becomes 15 minutes. I decided to do this video because I myself have been struggling, I find, this year. And I've got my kids, the one, she's in third year university. She moved back home from Toronto last summer. And then I've got my son who's 17. He is in grade 12. So they're both basically doing their own thing. And I've been finding, just the stress of being a mom. The worry never goes away. And we're at that point too where my son, he's 17, he's going to be going into university. And then it's just that worry, is he going to get in? He's in the last semester of grade 12. Is he going to get in? What if he doesn't get in? What's he going to do? And then our daughter, she's doing LSAT, studying this summer and going to write LSATs in the fall. It's just the constant worry. What if it doesn't work out? And I've been worrying so much that I noticed that it's been affecting my mood and my motivation. And then I just decided, you know what? Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. There's only so much worrying that I can do. And for my son, if he doesn't get into university, he doesn't get in. I guess he tries again next year. And the thing with him is that he only chose the university in our city, and he only chose two programs. So it's very competitive. And then our daughter, well, she's here, but she's, like I said, she's going to be doing the LSAT. So it's just the constant worry. And it's been a long winter. So I just found that I was getting less and less motivated to get out and do things. And we get comfortable in our homes and we don't want to leave. And I've made a point, though, of making sure that I do get out and about, meet up with a friend whenever I can, or just go out alone. And I made a video about that I'll share here about why it's important to be comfortable doing things alone. Because there is a big difference with being alone and being lonely. A lot of people are not used to doing things alone, but I think at this stage in our lives where we just want to have peace, it's more and more important to be okay with going out and doing things alone. Another thing to keep yourself motivated is to just do small things for yourself, even if it's just making a coffee. I try to keep my coffee intake down to maybe 1-2 at the most per day. I'll have either a coffee or a coffee and a tea or a cold brew, but taking that time to make yourself the special coffee that you want. Have your coffee, sit down, watch a TV program, or sit down and read a book, but taking that special time for yourself. Be accountable to someone. And I find that when you're accountable to someone and they're counting on you, you're a little bit more motivated to follow through. And where I'm going with this is once in a while or whenever you can, make plans to go out with a friend. And for me, I always just go out and meet friends at a coffee shop. And I did a video here I'll share that went viral about keeping people out of your home. Because I think more and more as we get into midlife, we just want to have our peace. We don't want people here competing, comparing, criticizing, judging. So it just makes things a lot easier if we meet people outside of the home. So usually once a month, I will go out with a friend and just go for coffee and catch up. And I think more and more at our age also, we have a lot of surface level friendships. And I'll take another video here about just why it's important to have quality friendships over quantity, and that at our age, we don't really want a lot of friends, and only a couple friends is really all you need. So it's important to still have people in your life that you can count on, even if it's a superficial friendship where it's just on the surface, where you just go, you chit chat, you have a coffee, because it's important to get out of the house. I mentioned about how I love makeup and how I make sure that I always do my makeup. But the other thing too is go out of the house and get dressed up. So don't just go out in your normal attire, your jeans and your t-shirt or whatever. Get dressed up. I'm not talking ball gown here, but get dressed up, put some makeup on if you like makeup, do your hair, and just go to the mall. Go to the mall, sit and have a coffee, walk around, and just be where other people are. I'm talking here in this video about being motivated, but I think there's a crossover to really being motivated, being inspired, creating peace, creating happiness. It all kind of blends in together. And I think most importantly, do something for yourself. Make sure that you have other things in your life other than just your family and your spouse, because we get to this point where our identity has changed so much. Our kids are grown up. We used to be the parent driving them all over the place, going to parent groups, parent teacher, school events and all of that. And then suddenly that stops. And then you look at your life and wonder, okay, well, now what? What's next? What's this next chapter going to look like? And it's important to fill that chapter with things to keep you motivated, to keep you happy, fulfilled. And if you don't have that, then that's when the loneliness seeps in and maybe a little bit of depression can seep in because there's not any purpose. So filling your life with purpose is really what the point of this video is more. And then obviously that leads to your motivation. So I appreciate that you've been here. I hope you've watched until the very end. Let me know that you're here in the comments. I'm curious where everyone is from. If you've made it this far, let me know, comment down below where you're from and if you're in midlife. I'm so thankful to anyone that's here, anyone that does watch until the very end. And until next time, bye for now.